after we got married, I opened a little store in my hometown, and some friend took a picture from us. This was the store, and we lived there in 1945 from April about till August. This was already,
in Prague.
must have been in Prague, but 1946 probably. And this was
1945. Around 1945 in Prague. I was so excited.
Yes.
This is where I got married. This is the picture when we got married. I remember I had infected eyes, both eyes, because I was so long in the bunker in the basement.
This is it.
Our friends in Prague.
Benci and in Prague, up the hill.
Yeah.
We came down from the
We're going
city Barando.
Here I'm pregnant with Peter. This is 1947.
Yeah.
Pregnant with Peter. Here is Peter. It was my treasure. This is Peter. God, I can't get it. Oh my God. This is my little son. It was my whole life. I never had anything. This is already at home from the hospital. This is Peter. This is Peter, must be around 3 months old. This is Peter, must be around 6, 7 months old. This is Peter. I'm going with a lovely friend of mine for a walk. Peter must be 12 months, a year old. This is Peter when he started to walk up on the mountain with my friends. Here goes Peter, little boy. What can he be? Around 12 months. Here is Peter around 2 years old. 2 years old. This is exactly 2 years old. I have a cake with him. He was 2 years old. It's a birthday gift. It's a birthday picture.
With the immigration visa when we got it from the American ambassador or something like that. Yeah. And this is already the passport. It was spelling W-E-I-S-Z there. And Alexander Weiss. This was the together we had the passport that time? Yeah. One passport we had, yeah.
This is the boat we came on. Its
Called
name is
Skytia.
Skytia.
This is the Skytia boat, the boarding card. Yeah. Yes, we came down October the 3rd from the boat.
Oh, this is
We
when
went
we
upstairs
arrived.
to Tante Hannah to live.
This when we arrived, yeah, was Peter,
To
2 and a
live
half
for 3
years
months
old.
there.
Yeah, Tante Hannah.
Yes.
This when we were living
Fairport.
on Fairport, yeah. I was feeding a squirrel. I was fascinated because I didn't see a squirrel there so close. This is even one day
On
when,
Public Square.
when we arrived at Public
It's on
Square.
Public Square. We went to see that. Yeah.
I was so excited. There was a
Yeah.
rabbit coat, and I was so excited because I bought me this coat.
Well, I'll tell you how I met her. So in 1942, when I came to Budapest from hometown, I found this friend, the jeweler, who was, his father was know my mother from hometown. He hired me in that jewelry store, and she was working across the street there. And when we sold the watch, we took it over there to sew it. There was not like here, the strap we had to sew on the watch. So it had to be professionally sewed on. So that's how we met.
There I come in. I made a band for the watches and sewed it on.
Yeah, and then what happened?
I don't know when you stopped, so anyway, that's how we met, and we never didn't see us too much. Well, she went her way and mine, but just we met. Then from 42, 43, 44, 3 years I was in Budapest, living. And, here and there I dated a girl. We went out maybe in 44, when it was already bad. We went out together a few times. And when she needed papers, I made some papers. She came for a favor, something in the store. My boss's mother is sitting there. She comes from that hometown too. She said, "You know what, Mr. Weiss, this girl gonna be your wife." I said, "No way, I don't have nothing."
I didn't know about it till after I was married.
I don't have no, desire to date. I don't want to date. This is a situation that I have. I can't even date somebody well.
But you
I'm
did
in
date
trouble.
my friend who I worked with. You dated her.
That girl, she worked with, we went out Sundays together a little, but not just, to have a Sunday, a good time. In the night, everybody went home. And then when Hitler came, I went away to Bratislava, and she went away with her papers to up the hill there to Buda to live. And that's how we split.
So did you care about each other already?
Never had nothing in mind to care.
No, we were just very, very good friends. I was a time already going steady with somebody.
Maybe we went out 3 times. We went to a theater, I remember, on the cigarette. We went to a show, maybe.
I told him, I will accept you like a very good friend. You know, we are from the same home. I did not know my husband at home, my hometown. My husband knew the family. I did not know his family. We accidentally, like I said, met.
You knew her family?
He knew.
You know of him.
Yeah. And like we met, and I said we will become very good friends. It's all just friends. We went out to the theater. We went out for dinner. Just friends. When I came back from the war, he already before. Every day was a day, a year. He said to me, "Susan, when I will get cut, I'll throw in my bread ticket in the mail. You should know this is the signal I was cut by the Germans."
What was the bread ticket?
It was everything was on tickets. You get
In the war, you couldn't get bread
you
or meat or
everything.
butter. You had to have
Coupons for it.
Coupons.
If you
You-
were not Jewish.
No,
Oh, Jewish or not Jewish?
yeah, but Jewish
Both,
people were not on the streets anymore.
Not too many,
Not
but
too
they
many.
still had to have
Coupons from the
yeah.
government.
Once a week you took them?
Oh, I think so. They give that monthly.
Monthly, and you had
Once
to
a
provide. You get a bread for a week for a person. You get an egg a day.
You know where you lived is a big building. The janitor downstairs got all the coupons, everybody's name, and they distributed.
Without coupons, you could not survive. This was your
For
day.
money you could buy.
Yeah, for
black,
money. But he
market.
said to me, when I will be cut by the Germans, I'll throw in my coupons to you, mail it. It will be a signal they cut me. I never got the coupons because they just picked them up on the street. His boyfriend ran, his friend, but because we were in a group of people where we all helped each other. He had a lot of friends and I had him. They all ran to me, "Susan, Susan, do you know Alex got cut?" I says, "No, I just couldn't believe it." And yeah, this was it. And he went to the concert. I had no idea where they took him because there was no way I could find out. And I went with my papers to Buddha, and we had no contact at all. The time already I was engaged to this other boy. When he came back about a month before, Alex, before me. You came back from the concentration camp. He got out before me. He came to Pest, to the older people who I told you, they came back from the ghetto, and he found the older people, and he was waiting for me. I was still in the war, up in the mountains. The Germans were still there. They all got together, and they couldn't kill him. And I had no way to come home because the bridges were all blowing up. When he came home, when I came home, one of his best boyfriend looked me up. He lives in Canada, and he said, "Susan, I know you're not in love with me. Please, I have no one. Please marry me." He bought me a bunch of jewelry he found from his mother. I got engaged to him. I didn't know the time Al is home because I don't know how. I didn't know. I got engaged. I was his best friend, a very good friend of his. But I didn't like him. He was an opera singer. He was a cantor. Stunning gentleman, everything. But I just had nothing. I had no feelings for him. When he came to visit me, I went into the park. And the older lady who I lived by, she was very old at the time, she said, "Susan, you're such a poor kid. You have so many friends who want to marry you. You're just running away from every one of them. What's the matter with you?" I said, "I can't marry somebody who I have no feeling for." One day he came up, and Al came up the same time. And I said to this other gentleman, "I cannot marry you. I don't love you. I don't even care for you." I took up the engagement I gave him. This is already after the war. I am not in love with Al, but I like him. He's a nice person, and I'll marry him. Before both of them. The other guy said to me, "I want you to know, Susan, when you don't marry me, I'll go out and I'll marry the first shiksa I get a hold of." And he did. He lives where in Canada? He lives in Canada. He was a gorgeous human being. He was an opera singer, so I got hooked on the opera. But I was fair. I didn't talk against him, against that. I said, "I like Al more, and I think so I'm going to marry Al." And Al walks in with an engagement ring. I still have it, a wedding ring. And I said to him, I remember what I said to him, "I'm not in love with you, and you know it." He says, "I know." And we got married. We went back to our hometown together. My girlfriend, Elaine, came with us on the train home. She was part of our lives all the way through. She came. He always went to my girlfriend and he said, "When I ever get married, I would like to marry Susan." My girlfriend Elaine said to me, but she said, "Susan is in love with Tommy. What can I tell you?" Elaine always came to me, "Don't marry Tommy, marry Al. He's a very, very nice person. He'll make you a very good husband."
So what do you think?
Well, maybe it was like this. I don't even remember. But I know I came home from concentration camp February the 20th, 1945, to my hometown. And I got sick there. I was a week in the hospital. And then I met a friend who helped me, and he took me in his apartment. And it happened to be our building, our family's building. In that apartment, he helped me till I got well. And he said, "Why don't you open a store? I'll give you money." I said, "If you give me the money, you are partner." So he helped me, give me money, like $10,000. He had a lot of money. Those times in rubles was already Russia. So I opened the store. I needed merchandise. So he said, it was April already, 1945. We went to Budapest to buy merchandise. Anything, watches, bands, anything in jewelry, anything just to put in the window. People are coming, they're going to buy. So you have to start some way to make a living. So when I went up to Budapest, I went up to look for where she was living before the war. And I came up there and she was there. The old lady was there where she was living, and I was so busy with shopping, buying, I said, I don't have time. This is tomorrow, Friday. You're going home to hometown, and if you want to marry me, come with me to the hometown. And she came.
That
We
was
went
it.
home. We got married. I don't know, was it Friday or Saturday? We got married.
Couldn't be Saturday, could it?
In our town.
Saturday, he
yeah.
paid off everything because
There, yes, Saturday.
I supposed to
open door.
leave back. I told you I changed my mind when I arrived home. I was just so frightened. I was so much alone on my own since I was a little girl. I was really terribly frightened for marriage. I felt I'm going to be trapped rest of my life here. I go where who I want to. I see who I want to. I was terribly afraid. I could have gotten married so many times, but I was the poorest girl from all my friends. I really had nothing. I was just afraid for marriage. So when I came there and came the real McCoy, I really got frightened and I said, I'm going back. I'm going back to Budapest. I was really frightened.
Then what happened?
He arranged it. I didn't know I'm getting married. I was making dough in this place where we stayed. I was making in Europe, you make the dough, and all of a sudden he walked in. I had a plaid dress on, I remember, and he said, come on, I show you something. I want to show you something. And guess what? I'll find out the justice of the peace. I had no idea I'm getting married. I told Elaine. She left a day before, and I said, Elaine, I'm following you. I'm going home. She got very angry at me. She left. But like I said, I don't know why. I just was so fighting from life, fighting from everything. So
Where were you living then? Where?
we came
Oh,
back to
yeah.
Budapest.
A nice house.
Oh.
Not finished. We had a nice house at the store. It was May, June, July. In August already, I said, this is all communist, and I don't want to live under the communist system, so we're going to go back to Prague. So whatever we had,
Tell them
we
about
sold,
the Russians.
we packed. In the store, the Russian came in,
Big.
stuff. Then between Russian people are very rough people. Like they came in, and if you didn't give it to him, they took it. They were tough people. But we said, it's enough. So we packed our little package. We went away to Budapest on the train. We had problems on the train. It was all loaded. On top of the train, people, on the bottom of the train.
They took off all the women, the Russians.
Most
They
of
raped
them
them
were-
before their husbands.
The most they were looking for the women for the night. So we were stick together, so we made Budapest.
They hid me behind a door.
The bench, behind the bench.
Behind the bench, I was all the way through because the Russians took the children, the daughters, the wives. On the train, they raped them. So a friend of ours was on the train with us. So they were sitting ahead of me and they pushed me down by the seat. The Russians shouldn't see me. The store, when we had the jewelry store, we worked together in our hometown. And this Russian guy came in with 2 guns, not one, with 2 guns. He took my husband in the back, half in the back and half he was holding. It was 1 or 2?
No,
1, yeah.
just one.
And he said, give me everything. We didn't have much because we just got married. He took everything. And this one, when my husband died today, we packed up and we left. It was the last train going out from there. They closed up. They wouldn't let anyone.
Is that why it was so crowded? Because it was the last train?
People didn't know it was the last train
Well, everybody was running away.
from the
They
Russians.
had to have a permission, they had to have paper to run away. But when you got on the train already, you paid for the train ticket for the conductor. You couldn't buy tickets. For the conductor they paid.
They were
And
hanging on
finally
the
we made
steps.
Budapest. It took, I don't know, 2 days to go.
Yeah.
And 2 nights to go
Yeah,
there.
to
Such a
Budapest.
slow train. And if we got Budapest, we'd stay there, I don't know, about 2 weeks.
We didn't stay together. We had no home to come to. I went back to my old lady. He went back where he to not Jewish people he lived by. He went back there.
For how long?
He didn't stay long in Budapest. I wasn't no good either. In Prague, I heard it's better. But in Budapest, if you stay, the quota to get to America as a Hungarian was, I think, so 5-6 years, to a waiting list, Hungarians. But if we go to Prague, we are Czechs, and there is 6 months for sure you get a visa. But we went to Prague, we made the same way the train trouble. Yeah, from Budapest to Prague. The same problem we had.
With the Russians again?
The
The Russians were worse from the Germans,
They
100
were
times.
throwing down people, taking away, rob you, they throw you
100
down from the
times worse
train.
from the Germans.
But
the
we
Russians.
somehow made it to Prague.
Mhm.
And when we made Prague, we found that I was in Prague like home, like here. I was 10 years before that. So we found out, and we found an apartment, found a job, and we did again, business.
We both worked.
And then we went to the American ambassador. We got, how do you call it?
Visa?
No, we got just, what do you say there? Just, they write up your name in there.
An application?
Registered. We got registered, yeah. They registered us as the name. I even have a picture where I'm going with a briefcase and coming down. That will be coming back from the ambassador. So we registered, and there is the waiting list. It was in 1946 we registered, and it took till 49 to get the visa. It was already so much loaded. In 45, if I would register, I would have made it in 47. So
what
many
year was
people.
Peter born?
1947.
So in 1949, they got the call from the American, you can go to
American country.
American. But between, they had problems in Prague too.
Let me tell you what happened to our incidents in Prague. Peter was about 3 months old. 2 guys knocking, Elle wasn't home, 2 guys knocking on the door. Guys, my God, Russians.
Communist
Russians.
They were Czechs,
One of them
but
wore
Russian.
maybe 400 pounds, each one of them was 6'4". They're walking in, Mrs. Weiss, I said yes. He said, here, sit down. But they don't tell you sit down, like a Gestapo, worse. The Russians are worse from the Germans. Okay, I sit down, they open up a tremendous big book. You put your name in there. And I said, I will never put my name in there. When you kill me, anything you're going to do with me, my name is not going to be there in this book. I know what it is. He said, your husband is not going to come home tonight, you know? So they took me, and they took my husband, and other things happened. They took my husband right away by the door. They picked him up. They took him right away to jail. They picked me up with a kid. Peter was about 3 months old, Donna? About 3 months old.
Something like that.
We went in a different car to the police station. The police picked me up and took me to the police. This is all communism. I didn't know what to do. So I started to pinch Peter, his little tushy, to pinch. He should cry a lot. He cried so strongly, and this guy said, throw this woman out with the kid because he's crying so terribly, I can't handle it.
And where were you?
He was
I was arrested by the police on the street as a Jewish, they were catching Jews, and it happened. I had in my pocket $100. If they would have found the $100, I never come out. I had to throw away the $100 on the street.
Why?
You were not allowed to have American
I was saving money to come here.
American money. You were not allowed to have American money.
But anyway, he was looking all over. He said, he will go home to your house, and they went without me to my house. And they were looking for dollars and for gold.
Because your name was on the list to leave?
Once
you're Jewish, they know.
The Jewish,
what else can you have?
You have American passport already, you're not welcome.
The passport that
Every single day, I was going on the street with my son. Every single day, a detective was following me. Every single day, and every single day, I approached him And I said, how about sitting down with me? You must be very tired because I walked a lot. I wasn't afraid. I didn't care. But when I pinched my kids so badly, I ran out and I took a cab and I said to the cab driver, you take me home the fastest you can. I'll triple your wages, your
Fee.
your
The
fee.
fare.
Because I was afraid they come back and they're going to look and I have some American dollars, then both of us would be in jail.
How long were you in jail?
He was, oh
Wow.
my God, for about 6 months.
6 months?
No.
Yeah.
10 weeks.
You
I
were for
remember
6
exactly.
months.
10 weeks.
I took you out.
10 weeks.
For 6
Yeah.
months he was in jail. He was the only
10
Jewish
weeks.
guy I had to take out. I had to take out how many people? I think so, 6 people. How many people were there? I had to take out 6 people because he was the only Jewish guy and he could not. I went to a friend of ours who was a captain. What was he, a captain?
Oh,
a sergeant? What do I know?
A general.
A general. He
was
was
a
half
colonel.
Jewish.
He was a lawyer and a colonel, but he was half Jewish.
So I went to
He was an
him.
old friend. I met him in Budapest yet. He came home and he made it big while he was a
Communist,
Czech, a
you know,
real
communist.
soldier. But he was a lawyer between. Then he lived on the same street. So she went there and told her what happened. So he got connection and he took us out.
I went there every single day, and any penny I have, he said to me, Susan, listen to this, I cannot take your husband out at all. You have to take out 6 people. You have to pay for 6 people to take him out, including your husband. This way is not going to be, I did a favor and I took out the Jewish. You understand?
Mhm.
So I said, okay, I'll take out all 6 of them, let my husband come out. Between he was in jail, I had a tiny baby, I ran all of it. I made a passport, I made a visa, I made all of it. He still was in prison.
What did you do there for 10 weeks?
What?
What was it like in there for 10 weeks?
In jail there? Oh, well, it wasn't bad, I see that. They just had against me that I sold a doctor a few dollars, about $11 I had.
And the doctor
The
got
big white dollars, this was I had for my aunt saving $11. I had it. It was mine. You know, she used to send me money, my aunt, from here to Europe. I was saving it. When I'm going to come, I'm going to need it. But this guy talked me into it, sell it to me, you'll buy something else. He gave me such a good price, I sold it. And he was followed by
FBI.
by a detective who he was dealing with, and he thought this guy would help him to go over the border for so much money, but in dollars had to pay. So he was hunting dollars. So he was asking around Jewish people who has dollars, and somebody said, yeah, Alex has too. So I sold him.
I
So
begged
he
him not to.
So he told the detective who he sold it, and that's how I got arrested.
So you
Guess
were serving time.
who was the people? This is a big surgeon from a big hospital in Prague. He was not Jewish. He was a friend of ours. He said, please help me. I'm leaving everything behind. I'm running with my family, with my 3 children and wife. I'm going out from Prague. Help me. I need something when I go through the border to buy. I said to El, please don't do it. Please don't do it. He said, I have very reliable people who are taking me to the border. Guess who the reliable people were? Detectives.
He was dealing with underground.
Detectives. This is the way he went out in
Police
jail.
underground. He was dealing.
So they gave you that long sentence? Is that what it
No,
was?
it wasn't a sentence. They can hold you so long till it's going to go to court. But luckily, it didn't went to court. This guy helped us, and he straightened out the papers, so we got out, all of us.
I was lucky to have
And
this
then a
guy.
month later, we got the visa, and we came to the United States.
I want you to know, when we were leaving Prague, detectives were sitting with us all the way down to Paris, France, in that train.
To watch
Every-
you?
To watch us.
They-
every single day.
They thought we have a lot of money, dollars
Yes,
or something.
every
But
single
the bad
day
information was.
of the day when I walked out with my kid, or I went to this this sergeant, what's his name? What was he?
A colonel.
A colonel. I was followed every day of our day. I was followed. When anyone approached me, I used to say in Yiddish, "Aborda." You wouldn't. I don't know. Would you understand it? Heulach. You understand what heulach means?
Yeah.
Get away. I knew I was followed from the morning till night, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I lived through so many different things, so many painful days. I was fighting back everything I had. So can you imagine every single detective I recognized? Every day I had another one and I
Czech police are
recognized.
very tough.
The
According to the
Russian,
Jews, they were anti-Semitic.
very, very
And the Jews,
tough.
Yeah, so
I had it very tough in Prague. I hate Prague. I never liked Prague. The Czechoslovakian people would sell out their own mother for money, their own brothers. You can't trust anyone there. So this is the reason. The Hungarian people are not like this.
So you were in Prague for 3 years? From
Yes.
46 to 40?
5 years. To 49, from 45 to 49.
Oh.
5
45,
years.
46, 47, 48, 40.
So when you left, what did you take with you?
In
Not
49, we
much.
got the visa. We just took what we can, the little clothes for the kid, and jewelry, just one wedding ring, a plain. She had
I
one,
still have it.
and I have a wedding ring I had, and no money, nothing. But
I
you
did
could
have-
hide money, but you couldn't take a chance in case when you hide and they come to look and they find it, you are arrested forever. You never get
Can
out.
never get. I had a.
Sure.
My husband gave me a gorgeous opal ring, and it was all diamonds around it in Prague. So we were in the train, and I loved this opal ring. It was a gorgeous ring.
Well, they were saying people that opal is bad luck.
So he
So she
opened.
took it and
He took it off. He said, "Give me the opal ring." And like I said, the detectives were sitting there watching us. He said, "Give me the opal ring," and I gave it to him, not knowing what he's going to do. Opened the window, he threw it out. I
Wow.
remember
Lot
because
of
we were
things we
so
had.
frightened.
Just don't remember now. We'll have to
Yeah,
probably do it
I had a
another-
suede
one more,
coat.
once more.
Tell me about your squirrel coat.
I had a suede coat, and
They don't allow
they
fine
wouldn't let me
clothes.
the coat
This
out. They
leather
wouldn't-
coats they don't allow, fur
No.
coats. So she had a suede coat. So she took it with us and hanged it up on the train. Well,
Everybody
that was-
asked in the train, "Whose coat is this one?"
So nobody said no.
I
don't
didn't
know,
answer.
don't know.
I was afraid to answer. They will take me off for just a suede coat. We arrived in Paris, and we saw. I felt already safe, so I went back for the suede coat. And when I came here, I never wore the suede coat because it was a different style. But
We
it's,
got it out anyway. She had
we
it
got it out
in the
anyhow.
beginning. What happened to the coat?
I sent
give
it
the-
back to Elaine. I sent
give
it
it
back
away,
to
yeah.
Budapest to my girlfriend Elaine.
Yeah.
So when you got to Paris, then you were safe?
Oh,
Yeah.
I came to Paris.
Yeah, we were
By
safe.
the train, somehow I sent a message to a friend of mine. I don't know how, a letter or by somebody when a week before. There's a friend of mine there, and there I had the address. And tell him I'm coming. I have already the visa and the tickets. He should wait for me at the train. He was there, and at the train we needed a few francs. The guy, the conductor, did us a favor. We had a few diamonds hidden in a little salt shaker. Salts and diamond hidden. But we didn't want to carry it. If they catch us, we're in trouble. So we gave it to the conductor. And he was holding it. In Paris, he was nice, gave it to us back. He could have kept it. And then when I came from the train, this friend of mine came. I said, "Give me some money. This guy did us this and this favor." So he gave us so much money. A dollar was 520 francs, or 570, I don't remember, something like that. So he gave me like $10 worth francs. It was a bundle like this. So I said, "Here, just give it, that's nothing. Give it to him, it was worth it." So I give it to the conductor, he thanked us, and so we went to a hotel. This guy found us a hotel. It was a very nice, from hometown, a good friend. He helped us, we stayed there in Paris so long, and he had
Then
no
I had-
friends. He was living there while he had sisters there, and he had cousins there. So they were like home in Paris. But they helped us out a lot.
How long were you in Paris?
Not long. Then I go in Paris to buy baby food in a store. Peter was just 2.5 years old. So I didn't know what to feed him. We'd be staying in a hotel. It was like a motel. So I go in, and the only thing really saved us, we speak languages. I speak Russian, Czechoslovakian, German. So I go in, and I
But
didn't
the
speak
French
French.
don't speak Hungarian,
And
don't
those
speak German.
I didn't
They're-
know. I
they're
did
not
not know
clever.
after the war.
They didn't like the Germans.
Yeah, so I didn't like him either, but I didn't know how to speak French, so I go into a store, and in German, I ask for baby food. And
Probably
she says to me, just a moment, okay? A lady there behind, and I said, fine. All of a sudden, she has a big broom and runs after me, you lousy Nazi, and she runs on the sidewalk after me, yells, kill the Nazi, kill the Nazi. I couldn't explain to her, give me a chance to tell you, I'm not a Nazi, but I don't know how to speak French.
So what do you want to know about this picture?
Yeah. About the
Yeah.
people.
Well, in Prague we were living, so this picture was with this friend. They're living now in Canada. We went out a place like here is Hollywood, the film studio. They just for a Sunday afternoon, we took a walk, get together people.
Very
That's
good
what
friends
happened.
of ours. We are still friends.
Well, this is a Sunday afternoon in Prague, around 1946, must be July or August. A nice Sunday afternoon. We went out up the hill where the film studio was. Got together, and then we went home. Every day was a year to wait for the visa. So after that, we lived in Prague from day to day.
Picture that I have some friends, and we went up almost every day with the kids. They have concert in Europe every single afternoon, music concerts up in the park. So I went with Peter. He was little. He must be about 8, 9 months old, with friends up in the mountain. The detective, where I am now, the detective was not far away from me, watching me with who and where I go. So when I begged them, we had with the Queen Mary tickets to come here, and we went up to the American consul and we told him we'd be very happy to give the tickets to somebody else when we could get a ticket with any boat who goes out from Paris to get out from Paris. And they said they're going to contact us. One day we had a call and they said there is a couple who would take your tickets, and they have a very small boat from, it was an English war boat. The boat name was Skytia, and it's going not to New York, it's going to Canada. And we took it right away. This is the way we got out faster from Paris. So we arrived in Quebec, Canada.
How long
It was
the
a
boat?
Yom Kippur day,
How long was the boat ride?
11 days.
On the boat, yeah.
Terrible 11 days.
Was it uncomfortable?
October the 1st, the bell rang on the boat. We hit a hurricane on the ocean, and everybody had to put on the lifeguards. I was terrified. I don't know how to swim. We were separated with my husband. My husband was downstairs in the basement. I was on the 3rd floor having a child. I don't know how to swim.
Why did you have to be separated?
The man was
My-
separated. It was a warship.
It wasn't a nice ship, you know, it was like a warship. Soldiers used to make.
He was so
But we took
ill.
anything we could get
Yeah,
just
to
to
get out from Paris.
So
He
it
was
a-
very ill. All 11
couldn't-
days he was in bed.
On a boat, I can't take it.
He was
Seasick.
vomiting. Well, he was very ill. I had a baby to take care of. The boat was very rough. Like I said, it was a warship. And we really, October the 1st, 1949, it was a memory to live. We didn't think either one of us would ever think we make it. The ship the water was going over the boat. It was like a hurricane. But we made it. Yom Kippur Day, we arrived in Quebec, and it was a very sad day. Everybody was crying on the whole boat.
Because it was Yom Kippur?
Yom Kippur. The Jewish Vocation Service paid off the boat. They should be parked under harbor there for one day. They shouldn't throw us off, the Jewish people. They bought us a box food in boxes, and everybody stayed and prayed on Yom Kippur Day, and believe me, there was not a dry tear, because everybody was for somebody from some other different places. And next day, we were going to New York by train, and we arrived in New York, and I kept saying, my God, they locked us up in a gate by the train. They wouldn't let us out. The U.S. government already had people there, and we wanted to stay in New York because we had friends in New York, and they wouldn't let us.
Why were you locked?
Because, you see, we had passport. We are from a different country. So they didn't let us just to go out. You can go any place you want.
Did you have to go through immigration?
Yes, the immigration was waiting for us by the train.
The train, when we came to
The immigration was waiting for us.
The immigration came up to the train. They went through the paper stuff, so we didn't have to go like they went on this island. The people.
We did not go to the island.
We came with the train through. On the train, they fixed all the papers. We went through, and then in New York, they put us in a hotel, and we were all together waiting somebody should pick us up. So I called a relative there, a cousin. She didn't
Acknowledge it.
Yeah, I said who I am. She said she don't know me. She didn't want to. Well, they were afraid they get stuck with it. You know, they just come from Europe, gonna get stuck 2-3 months somebody in their house.
Yeah.
So then I had to Cleveland the address for my aunt. So I took a train ticket in
They
New York.
actually put us on the train. The immigrant, they put us on the train. You go
So
to
I
Cleveland.
came here to Cleveland.
So straight from you weren't in New York very long?
No.
And this cousin in New York felt guilty, so they jumped in the car and they came here. Next day we came in, they came here to say what happened, like nothing happened.
I
She
never
didn't know.
forgave them. Never. They just said, we don't know you.
I still see him now in Florida there.
But I never forgot it. Because, you know, it was so sad. It was so strange. You don't speak the language. You have a baby. We have no home to go to. The baby's sick. It was just really terrible.
The baby was sick?
Yeah, Peter was sick all the time. He was very skinny. I didn't have food for him there. 1 egg a week. He always was sick. He had terrible diarrhea all the time. He had whooping cough. He had everything under the moon. Peter was very sick always.
When did he get better?
Well, when we came to this country, even here, Peter was always sick. So, really, it was a very hard.
So you went straight to your aunt's house?
Yes, on 123rd.
And then were you relieved finally that you finally were?
No, we got in and she gave us her place. She was alone. She had a big house. So we stayed there 3 months on 90th in St. Clair. And then after that we came to my uncle on Tuscora upstairs, the room. And we stayed there a year. That we paid rent there too. Then the next street from Tuscora was the Fairport. We found a nice apartment, already worked, had a job, so we moved in and we stayed there about till 1955. About 4 years we stayed there.
So Bob was born there?
54, he was born there.
Not by
We
my
had-
aunt. Not by my aunt. We found an apartment.
On Fairport.
Fairport?
I have an album when Bob was born, his bris.
Yeah. Yeah.
You showed it to her? You
I don't
didn't
think
see
so.
it?
She wants it.
Yeah, she does. So there in 54, he was born in 55. We bought this house here on Harwood Corner.
And what were you doing then?
Always a watchmaker, working for Sears,
You know.
working for nice little pawn shops, for jewelry stores, and then I went for myself.
What year?
1953, I bought this store, went for myself, and then in 55 I bought a house.
You excuse me, I have to make his dinner.
Smile, you're on candid camera. We came from New York, came here to Aunt Hannah on St. Clair, around 90th in St. Clair, and we stayed there about 3 months, October, November, December. Between I got a job at Sears. I worked there October, November, December. Then they told me to look for a job. They don't have enough work. So went home in December, Christmas. And in January, I went to the Scoville building. That's all the watchmakers get together. And one guy took me in, Greenspan. In his place, I was there January, February, March. I think so 3 months. Then I met a guy, Shai Zaidman. He said, would you like to come to my place to work? I'll give you $50. Now all the work comes in is yours. Oh, every cash you take in is yours. It was good. So I started there in 3 months, 6 months. After 7 or 8 months, one guy quit. He wanted to hire another guy. I said, I'll do his job too and mine. He said, then I'll give you $100 a week. I said 50. That was all right. He was nice to me. Now, the most of all, I learned English by him. He knew Jewish. This was very good. And they talked like me, Jewish. So I got the job and I worked there 1950, 51, 52, 53 in March. I saw the little store on 9th Street and somebody told me it's for sale. I went in there and Sammy was there. I said, I heard it was for sale. Yeah, okay, here's $200 deposit and I buy it. And we'll come Sunday. He said, then next week Sunday we'll come over and take over everything. And that's how I started. We came in, took over, and I took that thing and I didn't have all the money, so I paid them by monthly, the balance.
How much did it cost?
The whole store was $8,700. With merchandise, I wasn't so fancy, but it was a start for me. It was very good to me, this stuff.
You bought it by yourself?
I give him alone. I was there alone. 3,700 and 5,000 I owed him. After 6 months, I already had the money, the $5,000, and I asked Sammy, "You give me a discount? I'll pay you off." He said, "No, I want the 6%. I don't want you to pay it off." I said, "Then I'll pay you off anyway." So I paid them off. I didn't have no mortgage, and this was in 1953. In 54, Bobby was born. Yeah. And then, when Bobby was born in 1954, we had a gorgeous bris, a lot of friends we had already. We have a gorgeous album from him. And then in 55, we bought a house here on Harwood.
How did Peter feel about having a brother?
He felt fine. He was very excited. He was very happy. But my happiness was when Bob was born.
She been the first American.
I said to Dr. Burkans, I never forgot it, when he was born, I thought I'm going to have a daughter like every mother. I said, Dr. Burkans, crying, I said, look at this gorgeous face. This is my first citizen. First American kid. He sat on by the bed and he said, I see you're very happy. I said, yes, I am. I have a healthy kid. He was born, he had he swallowed a lot of mucus, so they took him down to the incubator. I was so frightened because I couldn't see him. I remember one morning I put on the rope. This was next morning when they took him down to a different floor. And I said to Dr. Burkans, you must take me down to show me my child is okay. I was just so overwhelmed and I was so thrilled. This kid was like muzzled to us. Until this day, any parents wish they have a child like this. He's a great guy. He's a great kid to my husband. He's good to his brothers. He's good to his five. He's good to everyone. He has a heart. He could give this shirt off from his body. So we are very, very proud of him.
What did he weigh? Do you remember?
Yes. Bobby weighed 7 pounds and 3 ounces. Peter was 7 pounds 4 ounces. Rick, my younger one, was 9 pounds. I think so 3 ounces less, like 10 pounds. He was a big boy. That too.
Did you get to see Bob right away? Did they bring him down to show you?
I don't, it was a time, it was completely different. Yes, my husband saw Bob when he was born. They showed him for a second, but he put him right away in an incubator. He turned blue, and this was a very frightening thing for me. And, but the doctor assured me he's all right, but like I said, I had to see it from my own eyes. I just didn't believe anyone. Yeah, my husband saw Bob when
I was there when I was born.
They didn't take in any father when I would never want it. Today is a different world, but in my times they never existed.
So you brought him home to that house over there?
Rick,
No.
Bobby was 1 year old
On Fairport.
on Fairport,
Oh.
and
54.
we lived in 2-family home, and Mrs. Rubin lived upstairs, and she was so tight. I used to wash diapers because there was no diaper service at the time. She said to me, what are you doing all the time with the water? I used to wash the bottles, sterilize the bottles. She used to hear the water and she used to knock on my door. Again, you doing something with the water? So I was so exhausted mentally. I was afraid to open the faucet. So I said to my husband, I don't care where we go. The cheapest, the smallest house, I really don't care where, how long. I wouldn't be frightened to even wash a bottle for a kid. So we went around and we saw the smallest house here on Harwood. It wasn't finished completely, but it really was a small house, and the builder took the second mortgage. The second or the third? The second mortgage.
No, I didn't have second mortgage. The bank, the third federal.
He helped us. I remember.
He helped us, the
we
bank,
could
to
not
get the bank.
buy the house. He had to give us some kind of mortgage in the bank, and we bought this little house with 2 bedrooms. And
How much was it?
$18,500.
$18,500.
$18,000.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford the $18,000. Like I said, we had help
It was
from our bank.
$5,000 down I paid.
And the builder
Yeah.
gave us some kind of mortgage, so we bought a house and we paid it down. And we lived there about 6 or 7
5 years exactly.
5 years.
1955, and this we bought in 1960.
So
Exactly 5 years.
one morning I got up, and it was in I think it was in November. When I became pregnant, it was early in fall. I don't know. I went to my neighbor, and she was baking with something, with buttermilk, and I said, Loretta, I don't know why, when you have to give me a glass of buttermilk when I'll faint, and it's not me. She said to me, you're pregnant.
How old was Bob?
Bob was
4 years already.
4 years.
57 was
Yeah,
it when she went down.
Bob was 4 years old.
54.
And I didn't believe him.
3 and a half. Yeah.
So I go to the doctor, and Peter came with me, and Bob. and the time was one of the biggest snowstorms. I couldn't come home. I got stuck in the road because it was such a tremendous big snowstorm. And I came back and I said to man, well, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant and I hope this time it's going to be a little girl. And it was another lovely little boy. I was Rick. He weighed close to 10 pounds. I gained a lot of weight. And again, thank God, the nicest little boy any mother, any parents could have. He's a great kid. We are very proud of my children. The only thing we have Peter was the most affectionate, the most wonderful. He made us so proud with my husband. He was a straight A student.
Did you go to Roland?
He went to Roland. Any place he went, he made straight A's. From the temple, Rabbi Herman asked me, Peter would make a great rabbi. He was straight A's. So, as a matter of fact, in every school he went, they asked me to put him 2 years ahead because he's so bright. But I felt for his own safety, he would lose his friends. I would make a big mistake because he had a lot of friends. I would separate them, so I said no. Peter went through high school. Peter went through junior high with everything. I never, ever had any problem. He was our pride and joy, like all of them.
What do you remember, Mr. Weiss, about Peter when he was little?
Pleasant thoughts.
Well, what to remember?
I mean, really little, like 3 and 4 and 5.
That was a very
What
bad,
did he like to do?
very bad eater. Peter,
He wanted
when
to
he
be
was,
a pilot, something, an airline thing.
Peter was building rockets when he was 9 and 10 years old in my basement. He had a CV, he could talk to the wall, and he was building rockets. He was so bright. NASA, 2 engineers worked with him. They sent him all kind of materials, hundreds of dollars. He made rockets in the backyard, and he landed them, and they flew up, and they landed in my backyard. I used to tell all the neighbors, when you ever see a house flying, it's going to be me. We always supported him because this is the thing he wanted to do. He wanted to be an astronaut. He wanted to be a scientist. He wants to fly, and he achieved all of it. He was making rockets. He was making radars for Boeing in planes, military planes. The military took him out. He didn't have to go to war.
This was after he graduated.
After he graduated college, the military took him out. They took him to Baltimore. He met this girl in Case Western Reserve. I begged him, and I told them, it's the wrong girl, Peter. I feel he made a big mistake, but I think so he realized it himself after it. He did make a mistake. But I guess he had to find out for himself. Dad and me saw it, but we tried. Nothing helped. Being a little boy, he was a very good child. When we left Prague, we left everything, his little bed, everything. We went on a boat. We went to Paris. In Paris, we had a very hard time. When we came on the boat, 11 days on a boat, it was terrifying.
He cried?
He cried every single day. He used to say in Czechoslovakian language, I want to go home, I want to go to my bed, I want to go home. I had no home to go home to. We were coming on a wall, to unknown wall, not speaking the language, either one of us. It was a lot of pain for all of us.
So when you came here and you moved into the house, Howard, what did you do there?